Continuing on with the theme of Game of Thrones Season 8 leaks, I've been sent yet another leak. This time, it's a bit more credible. Now, this person was apparently a part of some sort of viewing party for an upcoming trailer. Now, upcoming, the show's going to be on sometime within the next 6 months. So, upcoming could be between now and Christmas. But apparently, there is a trailer that is currently being made, as most of the episodes have been finished in post-production. This person was apparently privy, along with about 30 other individuals, and they were shown small fractions of major scenes that are going to be included in this trailer. The main point of this was to get the reaction and to judge whether they should tweak anything. Now, I don't exactly know the specifics of the relationship that this person has with this production assistant or whoever it is that's involved with the show that invited them to this pseudo viewing party, but just be warned, this video may contain potential spoilers for Game of Thrones Season 8. Let's begin. Before we get started, please slap a like on this video, as the like goal is going to be 429. Also, make sure you're subscribed, and then make sure you have your notifications turned on so that way you get alerted every single time I drop a Game of Thrones video throughout this long nights. Now, like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I get a bunch of these plot leaks sent to me all the time. This one just seemed a little bit more credible, and the information that they shared with me at the very least was entertaining. So I feel like I shouldn't really have to say it in these videos, but make sure you take this information with a grain of salt, as nothing has been confirmed until it airs on our beautiful screens in less than 6 months. Now, they mentioned they were shown a scene a little bit out of context. The context that this person was given, they were explained that, Bran has been developing this warging ability throughout these past couple seasons, and he ended up warging in Hodor, and now in season 7 we see him warging an entire flock of ravens, and this is just to show us that gradually his power as the three-eyed raven is increasing. So, the scenes that they say that they, got to watch were mainly involving Bran, Sansa, Ghost, and then eventually Arya and Nymeria's pack show up. And then in the second scene, they were shown less information of it, but they interpreted it as a rush to Winterfell involving Jon and Daenerys. So let's go ahead and jump into the first scene. Now, the scenes that they were privy to involved very similar situations. For reference, you can go back to Season 7, Episode 2. They didn't get to see much of the scene involving Jon and Daenerys, and like I just mentioned, they have more details on the Winterfell planning scene, so I will share that information first. Now, I think what they meant to when they were saying you can go back and watch Season 7, Episode 2, there's a scene in that episode where Tyrion is laying out his master plan. Now, this scene is said to, sort of mirror that. But jumping right into it, they say in Winterfell, the planning scene, Sansa is the first to object of a plan that Arya has laid forth involving her taking Ghost and tracking down Nymeria to bring her wolf pack into the fray. Sansa explains that surely Cersei will break her oath the first chance he gets, and Winterfell is likely already being watched by Lannister spies just as they speak. Arya reassures Sansa that she can handle herself, and she mentions how Bran can warn them of any danger that may lie ahead. It then cuts to black and we pick up with Bran. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this, Bran has been growing his abilities as a three-eyed raven, and it's revealed he can warg into Ghost. He's already sort of done this, but the problem before was that he could never really hold it for too long. Now it seems as though he can enter Ghost's mind without any hesitation, as his power has greatly increased. Now I just sort of want to pause right there from some of my own reflection real quick, and then I'll continue on. Now when I first read this, I was like, well, that's a red flag, and we haven't even gotten halfway through it, because Bran has had no trouble warging into direwolves. Remember, he warged in the summer like it was nothing. I think the main difference there, though, is that Summer was his own direwolf. Ghost is not. When he went into Hodor's mind, he basically raped him, and it was a straight up violation of who he was as a person. He rejected Bran. Even though Bran was able to do this, Hodor hates it every single time Bran does do this. So the fact that we're, sort of shown, or according to this leak anyway, we're sort of shown that Bran is able to enter Ghost's mind without any hesitation at all. Maybe Bran's ability has increased to the point that he can enter any creature or any being's mind without any hesitation at all. Now I know this plot leak may be a load of shit, but this part right here may be included in Game of Thrones Season 8. Then we pick right back up where it supposedly cuts to black, and this is with Bran. As he exits the warg, Arya enters the room, and he immediately tells her to leave. There is no time to waste. He knows exactly what she's thinking, and he will watch over her through Ghost, and that Nymeria and her pack of wolves are one of the only defenses that will keep Winterfell safe. Now at this point, the person goes on to tell the events that they witnessed that took place in the second scene. They said it was another partial scene. Apparently in this scene, Daenerys is flying on Drogon towards a smoking Winterfell. She seems extremely distraught, and she can see a wagon caravaning through flames off in the distance near Winterfell. The camera then pivots to a close-up of Jon Snow riding vigorously on horseback towards the wagon. As Jon gets closer towards it, he realizes that Sandor and a bunch of other members are in it from Winterfell, and it appears as though Bran has been wounded. Some sort of wight fighting Sandor as he rides in this caravan. This leaker couldn't make out exactly who the wight was supposed to be because the scene was happening so fast, but they did say that it's eerily similar to Arya's brown leather from last season. Now, obviously, I'm going to pause for some more reflection right there. So, this leaker is claiming that they were witness to, just to sort of summarize real quick, they watched a trailer viewing party. They were shown very small clips and excerpts from bigger scenes, and they just wanted, the producers, whoever it was that was doing this to them, just wanted to know the reaction. Now, they're mentioning that Bran's abilities are growing. He's going to work into ghosts and possibly into Nymeria and maybe some of the other wolves in their pack, but they're now mentioning that Arya is going to die and that she's going to be turned into a wight and that Sandor is going to be fighting with her. Now, I immediately had to message this person back because I'm reading it and I'm like, dude, I don't even know if I want to make a video on this because you're trying to tell me that Arya is going to die and there's no way I could see this scene going down this way. They then sent me a 2-page message explaining how that line that Sansa gives to Arya about the lone wolf dying but the pack survives means many different things this season, and that certain characters are going to stray away from their packs or their closer, group of individuals who they're supposed to be with to complete their journey, not just the Starks being, the wolves and representing a wolf pack, but other characters, once they stray away from that, this is when they die. So they said that this scene comes full circle with Arya going off on her own, leaving the pack, and then arriving back, but eventually dying. I can kind of sort of see that, but I'm just going to have to go ahead and call bullshit. But I will continue on with this leak. You guys let me know your thoughts down below. Apparently, Arya's going to die, and then a white version of her is going to attack Sandor, just as Jon Snow and Daenerys show up. So picking back up, after Jon Snow approaches that wagon, he quickly comes to a stop, and the camera pans around, and then we see that his army, his and Daenerys' army, are right behind him. They are showing up on the battle and they're about to begin wreaking havoc. The camera then pans back around to Nymeria, Ghost, and all the other direwolves going at it with the wights. They aren't shown the conclusion of that battle, but they were told that the direwolves have a major role in this, and the scene is about 10 minutes total of screen time with them, and that it took about 2 months to complete with the filming and then the post-production of digitally rendering all of. They then go on to close out this leak by saying that they were not shown the information that happened or the conclusion of what happens with Sansa, but that they spoke with a few of the other people, and they were shown partial scenes of Arya and Sansa talking in a dark cellar-looking place, which they interpreted to be the crypts of Winterfell. Now, like I said at the beginning of this video, I just want to reiterate real quick, these are mainly for shits and giggles, as every single person that leaks something, whether it's on Reddit or whether it's leaked to me or any other YouTuber personally, they most of the time have some sort of story about how they got this information. This one was just a little bit original, and I had never heard that sort of story before, and it does kind of seem believable. I do know that if they have completely finished filming, which they have because, we've recently gotten pics of Kit Harington without a beard, and we know that it's been about 2 months since they finally wrapped filming, so they're definitely heavy on into CG and, post-production stuff, and they probably even have a few episodes completed. So the fact that they added that little bit along with their story made me give them a little bit more credibility. But like I said, this is all just for shits and giggles. You guys let me know what you think. Me personally, I just can't see Arya Stark dying this way. I think she may be one of the few Starks that survives this whole thing. And my interpretation of the lone wolf dies but the pack survives, I think it could be opposite of that. I think all of these Starks may die by the end of this series, and Arya will be one of the ones that survives. Ironically, she is the lone wolf. That's just my personal opinion. I know everybody has their own ideas on how they want the end game of Game of Thrones, that final scene to go out. But let me know all of that down below in the comment section. Another thing that sort of gives a little bit more credibility to the fact that maybe Arya would die as much as, or as little rather, as attention that I want to pay to that. There was supposedly a leak around the time that Winterfell was set on fire, and we had a bunch of set pictures involving, the battle that takes place around it. There was supposedly shots of a wagon that was caravaning, and Sandor was supposed to be on this wagon fighting some sort of wight. Now, there was also another shot that went along with those leaks that was said to be a figure that looked a lot like Arya, and they were holding the cat's paw dagger, and that sort of confirmed that Arya dies. Now, those leaks were officially released, but it was a lot of speculation. As you can tell, they're so far away, you can't exactly see what's going on in this scene. Alright, I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you could please slap a like on this video, the like goal is going to be 429. Also, please make sure you're subscribed and make sure you have your notifications turned on so that way you get alerted every single time I drop a Game of Thrones video throughout this long night. Super special shout out to Terry, Mario, Nancy, Lynn, and Jimmy, some of my biggest supporters over on patreon.com/SirHuntsReviews. If you all are interested in joining such a thing, check out the link down below in the description or the link right up here. I want to thank you all again so much for watching. My name's Mark, and this has been Sir Hunt's Reviews.